Stand by. My sign's crooked. My door's open. That great big giant blue shirt I'm wearing. I'm already a big enough guy, and this shirt I'm wearing is a double XL. Probably should have changed it because I just look like a fat guy in an even fatter shirt. You know what is better than these big dudes who wear these big flowery colorful shirts? I'm like, why are you calling attention to the fact that we could show a movie on your back? You could second for a movie screen. I've just always wondered that, but that's just me. So hello, my friend. I am Charlie Simons, your host here on Do Not Talk, talking about two things you're never supposed to talk about: politics and religion. Talk to the people you're not supposed to talk to, like little candidates, running for little insignificant things like assembly, Congress, Senate, governor. Get involved. Listen a little bit. Learn something, for heaven's sake, and show up to vote Tuesday, June 2nd. We need you more than ever. And don't mail in that ballot. If you haven't already, please don't. I'm not saying you just go ahead and fill it out, put it in the envelope, put it in one of those your county drop box. And you find that by going to your county registrar of voters. Find out where the drop boxes are. Not your little Mark Zuckerberg Facebook drop boxes or any other kind of crap that you see all over the place. Oh, we're at the Sprouts store. Yeah, we're the guys with the table there. Save the whales, and we got a drop box here. Go ahead and put your ballot in there. We'll make sure it gets to the post office. That's happened, and it's probably still happening. What happened during the 2020? Remember? Don't ever forget that happened. And then again in 22, it was going on. But we got to get involved. We got to be motivated. We got to come together. Please come together. Vote for governor. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, but please make sure whomever you vote for, could you make sure they have an R in front of their name? Unless you know them, as they're running like a no party preference, like Louis Herms or Daniel Mercury, those guys. But other than that, just do something. Just do so. Don't let this pass, please. We need you now. This is the most important election of my lifetime, our lifetime. And I know that's so cliche. And you hear all these other people like Sean Hannity. Good heavens, every election. It's the most important election of our lifetime. I think this actually is. Because if we don't get it right with the midterms, and in California, the elections are won and lost in the primary. Because we have this jungle primary crap. So the top two vote getters go to the big election in November. So we have to decide now. So if you're one of those people go, I'll just sit back and vote in the big election. Whoever's there, I'll just let everybody else fight it out. Knock it off. Stop talking that way. Please stop talking that way. Because you're putting it on all the rest of us. We got to come together as a community on the right now. Conservatives, more than ever before. We absolutely have to, or we're ski-rude. Michael Maxsenti, he's running for Congress. He's in Congressional District 47, if I remember right, Orange County. But it's so important for you to meet and greet these people and get to know them personally. If you can't do it in person, do it through my show, because I'll bring them to you. I will definitely, and I'll ask questions, hard questions sometimes, things they might not like to answer, like I did with Gloria Romero earlier today. But I have become really good friends with another podcaster, and the dumbest thing you can do as a podcaster or anyone in the media is put somebody else's media presentation on your show, because you're just sending viewers and listeners their way. But I don't care. Rising tide lifts all boats. That's my attitude. But his name is Ramin. He just goes by Ramin, Ramin. He's out of San Jose in the San Francisco Bay Area, and he's doing extraordinary work. He's doing Nick Shirley kind of stuff. Watch this.
$28 million from you. I'm not exaggerating. California stole $928 million from you. I'm not exaggerating. not being dramatic. $928 million is gone, taken from your gas tank, your electric bill, and your wallet. Now I'm going to tell you exactly where it went and who took it. Every time you fill up your gas tank in California, you pay an extra $2 per gallon. That is cap and trade. That's the hidden tax Newsom snapped on you. Now, you're told that the money goes to green energy, solar panels, clean air, saving the planet. And that's the pitch. But here's the reality. $1 billion of your cap and trade money went to a nonprofit called Grid Alternatives. You ever heard of them? Yeah, probably not. I hadn't either until last week. Their job, supposedly, is to install solar panels on affordable housing in California. Sounds beautiful, right? Poor people, free energy, a win. So how much of that $1 billion do you think actually became solar panels on a poor person's roof? Half, a quarter maybe? Well, according to their own reporting, 72 million. Yeah, 7%. 93% of your money is gone. It's vanished into thin air. And yeah, it's unaccounted for. $928 million. And I'm going to show you where it went because I drove down to their front door to find out. Long Beach Avenue, downtown Los Angeles, the same block where I called 911, the same block where the cop confessed. I knocked on their door. You can't see in. They've got it barricaded with black plastic, no windows, no buzzer, like a fortress. And I called Anthony voicemail. I called Ashley. I think she hung up on me. These are the people running a $1 billion nonprofit funded by your money, and they won't even answer their phones. So I walked around the back and I found their garage was open. And that's where I met this guy. Well, this guy, he works at Grid Alternatives. Cool guy, frontline employee. I asked him the question that this whole video is built around. I said, hey, do you guys knock on doors for voter registration? His answer wasn't no. His answer was, and I'm quoting him directly, well, it's really not my place to answer that. That's not a denial. To me, that's almost a confession here. So I went home and I dug. And here's what I found. Grid Alternatives is part of a network. The center of that network is an organization called CEJA, C-E-J-A, the California Environmental Justice Alliance. 3 things happen in order. Listen carefully. 1, CEJA wrote the law that created the $1 billion program in the first place. 2, CEJA then got the contract to run that program.
Wow.
3, CEJA's policy officer is also the program director. Same guy, both jobs. A nonprofit wrote the law, then awarded itself the contract, then put its own employees in charge of spending the money. In every other state, that's a federal indictment. In California, that's a Tuesday, but it gets worse. CEJA has a sister organization called CEJA Action. CEJA Action is a 501c4. That means it's a political organization. It endorses candidates. It runs voter mobilization. It works campaigns. In 2024, CEJA Action endorsed 24 progressive Democrat candidates. Now here's where I want you to pay attention. CEJA Action knocks on doors in the exact same neighborhoods where Grid Alternatives is installing solar panels. Same staff, same database, same offices, same neighborhoods. The solar installer knocks on your door on Monday. The voter mobilizer knocks on the same door on Tuesday. Now, you, sitting at the gas pump, are funding both. You're paying cap and trade taxes for solar panels. Your money is being funneled into a Democrat door-knocking operation. Let me say that again a little bit slowly. Your gas tax pays Democrat door knockers. That's not an opinion. That's not Ramin thinks. That's documented. Jenny Ray LaRue, the director of CalDOGE, published the entire expose. The CPUC is being asked for a full audit. The Attorney General candidate, Michael Gates, needs to put handcuffs on these people.
Amen.
This is fraud. This is money laundering. This is electioneering with public funds. And nobody in the California press is touching it. That's why I made this video. So you know. So you're mad, like me. So you can vote on June 2nd like your wallet depends on it. Because damn it, it does. Now, let me show you what happened when I tried to walk through their door.
You'll find Ramin on YouTube. Ramin Real Talk is the name of his channel. He's also on Rumble and several other platforms. That's extraordinary work he just did. And he's right about the media ignoring it, except for this guy. I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of it. It has to end yesterday. I hope that motivated you to actually vote in this primary election. The elections are won and lost in the primaries. If you don't show up and vote for a Republican candidate just for governor, we could have 2 Democrats running for governor this coming November. That's how important it is. So I want to talk to somebody who's running for Congress, somebody who can actually do something about this and start exposing this stuff. I haven't heard anything from Kylie. I haven't heard anything from McClintock. I haven't heard anything. Those are my representatives in NorCal. I'm sick of it all. Everybody out. We're starting over. That's where Michael comes in. Let's get to know him now on Do Not Talk. Ready? Hit it. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, Charlie, thank you for being here. You teed this show up perfectly for me because it helps get my adrenaline going. It helps me know why I'm doing what I'm doing every day, why for 16 years and counting into my 17th year now, I dedicated my life to the reformation of our government. When I learned of this stuff that you just presented, or Ramin just presented, I started learning this stuff back in 2010. And when I learned that, started learning it, I had just gone through a period of reflection upon the sacrifices that my father and his generation had made in World War II. And I was in that first lottery for Vietnam, and I'm but 4 digits away from going myself. And so many of my friends never came back. Many of those who did, including one of my very best friends, were never the same after being wounded in that experience. And here I was thinking about how fortunate I was, and I'd never had to serve anything for the great life I'd lived. And that's when I said, to turn to my wife, Kelly, and I said, maybe it's my time to serve. And I said, like my father, I signed up for the duration. And here I am. We're now into our 17th year. And but enough of that. You know, there's so many things that video brought up and your comments brought up. Where would you like to start? I made a few notes here.
Let's start with how this became accepted practice for a government to get a non-profit, but give it a special tax status to where it's affiliated with the government, but yet it's still a non-profit. And they call that an NGO. We heard about that. Those came on the scene during the whole Biden train wreck of a presidency when that idiot opened the borders and let up to 50 million illegals come streaming in from all over the world. And it was all the NGOs that were down there giving them these freebies, giving them these government supplied FEMA debit cards with money on them. Everybody coming across the border was getting some kind of freebie and a free trip to anywhere they wanted to go. And then it became apparent it wasn't just where the people coming across the border wanted to go. It became very apparent it was wherever the cartels wanted them to go so they could continue doing their work. It was insane. How did that become accepted practice that it's okay?
Well, what you just said there, I want to go. I turned around a corporation. I mean, I've done a lot of things in my career. I always like to look at the root causes. And if it's a social problem like homeless, there's a transitional period. You've got to put in different steps. You got to look at how do you deal with the immediate problem right now? How do you deal with the the steps that get people into that final stages where they're desperate for need. But then you got to spend equal resources on the root causes so that you're attacking the problem from at major steps in the process. When I started learning the depths of the corruption of the leadership of both parties, and that's where I left. I had been a lifetime Republican. I was well known in Laguna Beach, where I raised my family and lived for 35 years, as that Reagan conservative, Reagan Republican, because it's an overwhelmingly Democrat progressive town. But when I learned of those, I've then co-founded and funded and was the executive director of and all that for a nonprofit called Rebellious Truths. And the slogan for Rebellious Truths was, and I still have one of my cards sitting here, bringing the light to truth, seeking justice for all. But that's where I resigned from the Republican Party. The Bushes and the Cheneys and the rest of them had sold us out, just like everybody I could list on the Democrat, Republican, or the Democrat side. So I went no party preference, declined the state in those days originally, then became no party preference as a way to deflect it off. And then I worked in the independent community for 15 years, alongside everybody from Ross Perot, Andrew Yang, Tom Campbell, and I could list a whole host of people trying to reform our government from the outside. Because what I want to go back to your point, where in the hell has the leadership of my Republican Party been over these last years about all these issues that now we're going to doge California? Where in the hell have they been in California? And more importantly, where in the hell have they been in Congress? They've been sitting on their butts, taking advantage of these situations, perpetuating it so they could get rich and the parties could gain more control. And so that's, want to get my passion going and why I get up every single day. And I talk to my wife, and she'll know this. I'm off as a revolutionary soldier to reform our government, and nobody's shot at me yet. And if this is as tough as it gets, bring it on, because I'm not going to stop, and I will give it until I can. As my father was in the Battle of the Bulge, he came into D-Day on a backseat of a two-man glider. He was 90 miles west of Berlin on VE Day. He was in that First Army unit that came on the Mingelese prison camp and never, ever talked about that except at the reunion of the survivors of his Army unit and one time when his grandson was interviewing him. And so there's nothing they can do that's going to slow me down or stop, no matter what happens in this primary. If I win, great. And they don't want me to advance the leadership of the Republicans. And right now in our party, there's a huge amount of people that have benefited from the status quo and give nothing better than lip service to supporting the reformation that Trump and many others have been leading.
Oh yeah, and that's very obvious, glaringly obvious, at least in California.
Well, and nationally, look at
it's like we have a whole state full of John Tunes who just they're comfortable and they're just going to sit it out and they don't care and they'll just wait out Trump. And
they're hoping that we will lose the majority in the midterms so that they can get back and they can all go, oh, I tried. They'll give up all kinds of reasons, just like it
was all you MAGA people. You're the one that dragged the party down. That's how they're talking.
Yep. And it's
in California, that's how they're talking.
But nationally, it's the same problem. We've got, when we have, for example, there was a bill just introduced on the floor of the House that Johnson took off from vote, thank goodness, because every Democrat, and I think the number was something like 50 Republicans had signed on to this, that was going to force Trump's hand and bring back to Congress the funding for the issue with Iran, which I hope we'll get into in a little bit because it's an important issue. But we've got these kind of rhinos. The SAVE Act, why in the hell isn't that SAVE Act passed easily and already going? There's so many issues, so you want to get...
It's infuriating. It's infuriating. And President Trump has now done, he did the executive order that I've done several shows with John Goodman out of Florida. He and I were talking about this in 107. We've been talking about this. Yeah. He knows at this point, the Senate's not going to get it done. Thune is not going to get it done. He's going
No.
to start backing candidates and it's worked during these midterms so far in other states. They do their voting early compared to us. And what is he? President Trump is like 38 out of 38 endorsed, 38 have won this, including Paxton in Texas. Nobody thought that was going to happen.
Now
This has been fantastic.
It has. And here's where one of my concerns. And so and thank God for Donald Trump. And all those Democrats and people out there who don't like that statement, fine. I am truly an America First guy. I'm truly committed to the principles of the Republican Party, which saved our nation 150 years ago and freed the slaves, which are all based upon the founding of our nation. I'm totally committed to that. Now, Trump is a unique individual. He is the one who's opened the door for the opportunity for the people. When you talk about doing something, we'll come back to that, for people to do something. But he's opened the door for us to reform. He's opened the door to stand up against the global agenda that has been trying to take our country down, take away our sovereignty, and to create this new world order where these globalists can just be seen as the new lower G.
Do you hear what he's saying? Do you hear what Michael's saying? I'm so glad to hear somebody running for office actually talking this way, because I talk this way to people, to other candidates, and it's like deer in headlights, or their eyes glaze over, like, oh shoot, backtrack. I want to be a part of this discussion. It freaks them out. This is exactly what it is, though. A satanic new world order, one world government crap, and the left is doing it because they're doing their father's work just as quickly as possible, for his time is short. But unfortunately, there are many Republicans who are along for the ride too.
Yeah, because they've been benefiting from the status quo, and they want to continue for their own self-enrichment. That's exactly right. The list is long and deep of the money that our Republican elected officials, both at the state and federal level, have been benefiting from. That are just as equal to or bad as any list you can make up of those on the Democratic side. We really have to reframe this conversation. It's not Democrats versus Republicans, the people. It's the people against this uniparty, this one world order agenda. That's what we're up against. Now, back to Trump for a second, because
he's right.
I've been told.
Before we do, though, I'm going to ask you a question. We will come back to that. Before you do, I want to ask, just based on what you said, I want to ask you a question about the support of the Republican Party there in your county and in your area. I think I already know the answer. But before you give that to me, Michael, I got to ask a favor. And everybody's watching live, thank you right now for your patience. I'm going to thank you in advance, but I left the power cord in the other room, and I just got a message that I'm losing power. So hang on right there. You'll still be on, Michael. You'll still be on. So watch your language. Stand by. I'll be right back. Go ahead and talk to everybody, Michael.
Well, hello, everybody. While Charlie's getting that power cord, so that we don't take time away from some more important details, I am running for Congress in California District 47. District 47 is in Orange County. After Prop 50, and even before Prop 50, it is the only self-contained district. When I mean self-contained, it is bounded solely within Orange County. Every other congressional district has a part of at least one other county, and some two counties. So that gives me an additional advantage to be able to take down Dave Min. And my job that I focused on after the midterms, or after the election, then the vote came down on November 5th, where Trump won. Over the next 2 months, I spent literally every day, as part of my morning ritual, as I meditate and I pray and for guidance, was what should I do with my, at that time, 15 years of learning, my reputation within the independent community, my work within the MAHA community, the Make America Healthy community. What is the most important single thing I can do at this stage of my life at this opportune time? And after that vote was certified on January 6th, I made the decision, and I talked with my wife, and we sat down together and decided the most important thing I could do would be to run for Congress, which I've never ran for public office before, run for Congress. And my goal was to take out David Min. Dave Min is our just elected last November. He was newly elected as our representative in Congress. Dave Min is a prototypical career politician. And Charlie, by the way, anytime you're ready, tell me to shut up and we'll get back to the conversation.
No, I'm glad you're doing this. Thank you very much. And I'm sure everybody appreciates it, because I can't, not too many people would actually take the ball and run with it in a situation such as that. So thank you very much.
So, Dave Min is a prototypical career politician. Dave Min was raised in elite circumstances of Palo Alto, went to University of Pennsylvania, went to Harvard, graduated Harvard, was given a position on in a group that consults to Chuck Schumer. He stood right there at Chuck Schumer's side and Maxine Waters. Then when Katie Porter, who was our state senator from this district, decided.
Did you say Katie Porter?
Yeah.
Katie Porter?
Yep, Katie
Canned
Porter.
ham Porter.
So
get out of my effing shot, Porter.
When she was moving over to run for Congress, they moved Dave Min into Irvine, got him a position as an associate professor of law at University of California, Irvine, got him special housing for he and his wife and children in the UCI housing. He then was slotted in to run for her seat in state Senate, given millions of dollars, won for 4 years. He was up there in Sacramento, rubber stamping every single Democratic policy that has decimated our state for those 4 years. Soon as she made an announcement she was going to run for U.S. Senate, they moved him over into the congressional seat, gave him millions of dollars again. He got elected to replace her for our congressperson just this last term. So, and Dave Min is as unfortunately 70% or more, but at least 70% of our current Congress are trained attorneys. And attorneys have a unique and valuable place in our society. However, none in Congress that Chat, Grok, or anyone else has been able to find out was ever trained as a facilitator. They're all trained as advocates. And an advocate is trained how to manipulate the facts, the jury, the judge.
How to sway the jury. Exactly. That's what I always say. They don't have to win over the majority. They don't have to win after you and me. They don't care. Nope. All they have to do is sway the jury.
And public opinion to do one thing. When they know their client or their side is wrong, guilty, or there's a better way, doesn't matter. All they're trained to do is be an advocate to win for their team, their side. That's all they know how to do. And right now in Congress, more than ever, at least in our lifetimes, we need people who know how to, one, have visions of solving problems, know how to bring people together, know how to put organizations and oversee what they've done, make sure that they're effective and deliver the results for the people. And that's why I made the decision to run, to take Dave Min out, and I would do whatever I could, whatever I can to fulfill that. And that's the journey I've been on for the last 15 months, 16 months, and will continue on until I can't. So now
That's
back to Charlie. We've got the power cord.
You're obviously a conservative and my kind of conservative. And that means that the Republican Party of your own central committee in your own county probably not backing you.
Nope. They didn't endorse me. And worse than that, they went out and recruited somebody. Now, and I'll go into a little bit detail, but not in long. I could give a long answer to it. But they went out and recruited somebody. I went to the chairman of our local party, the Orange County GOP, Will O'Neill. I went to him in March at the when I was made a delegate to the California Republican Party convention. And I used to joke when I went up there, it had been the longest stint of anyone there. I was a representative in 1993 at the convention, made that by Congressman Chris Cox, who was a dear friend and still is, and he's struggling with his health right now, because he wanted me to run for office back then. At that time, I was the COO for a joint venture where I launched an international joint venture with Nissan here in Irvine, and he wanted me to run for office then. But So now I'm up in Sacramento in March of 2025. And I went to Will O'Neill. I tried to get meetings with him beforehand. He was always too busy to see me, but he saw me up there. We sat down and I said, Will, if you can find somebody more electable than me that I can support, I will stand down in a heartbeat. The last thing I want to do is to run for office at my age and that. But I have the backing of the independent community. I have the backing of the Maha community. I can win this district with Republicans and independents and the Maha community. We can win this district. So I said, tell me if you get somebody and I'll throw them 100% of my support and bring those communities that I have deep roots in behind them. Well, I must have said that to him a half a dozen times over the rest of the year. In March 6th of this year, 28 hours before the close of the Orange County GOP endorsement process, where the three Republicans, myself and two others, had filed paperwork for the endorsement. I was the only one that they had acknowledged, and I was going to be interviewed for the endorsement. They brought in, and I learned later that the two people who recruited her was Will O'Neill and John Fleshman, the treasurer of the party, the former executive director of the California GOP. They together in January, as I found out again later, recruited this person to run against me. They on the Sunday before the close of the election, the endorsement process, the next day at 5:00, email goes out from the treasurer to all of the central committee. We found this wonderful candidate that we all want to support. She's perfect. She's got all this background. We need 12 people to sign her on to get her into the hearing, which is going to be the following Saturday for the interview. They get that. Following Saturday at the interview, I sit shoulder to shoulder, and the endorsement committee interviewing us, they start asking me, and they spend about 70% of the time asking me questions and say, well, we're concerned, Maxsenti, about you because you worked for 15 years as an NPP, and we're concerned that if you go to Washington, hell, you might even try to start a new party. And they quoted from one of my podcasts that it was the podcast the day or so after I returned from the National Independent Convention in Denver. And I wore a particular coat that was given to me by a volunteer, which was a sport coat made up of an American flag. And he quoted this and said, yeah, you were wearing this coat like American flag. So I knew immediately what podcast he was referencing. And yeah, we were talking about how, unfortunately, both parties and what was going on inside of the leadership of both. So long story, a lot shorter. They ask her all these questions. You've got all this money, cash on hand. You're going to put in all this money and all of this stuff. She gives all these answers. It's Maxsenti, for unity of the party. We're going to give her the endorsement.
Of course.
We want you to suspend your campaign, and together you guys can win. But we're going to give the endorsement to her. She's got money, contacts, experience that you don't have. So that starting the next day, and I was crushed. I had gotten every endorsement from the CRA, the California Republican Assembly, and every other endorsement, the American Independent Party of California, every endorsement I had been given.
Except your own central committee.
Oh, and this person had to ask for them as well. And I've kept it from using her name because I don't want to pin it. But the woman in that show that you just showed, Jenny Ray LaRue, is who I'm talking about. Jenny Ray LaRue and I that's right. Jenny Ray LaRue. So the next Sunday, midday, she and I start a series of 5 or 6 phone calls Sunday afternoon and Monday through Monday afternoon. We must have talked for 3+ hours total. She convinced me we talked how we could work together like Trump and Kennedy. I would bring the Maha. I would be her community liaison, and how we could do this. And I said, hey, I turned to my wife. Hey, I never ran to run for office. I got a brand new grandchild. I got, she's half my age, et cetera. She's got all this money and experience. boy, we can really take Dave Mann out, because my job has always been to take Dave Mann out, make sure we hold Congress, the majority in Congress, and send support reinforcements to Trump, and more importantly than just to Trump, to the reform movement committed to our Constitution and the people. So at 5 o'clock Monday, an hour and a half, 2 hours before the Central Committee, where she and I were supposed to be speaking, and they were going to vote after she and I both were going to give speeches, answer questions, have rebuttals. Then the Central Committee was going to vote. We contacted the chairman of the party, Will O'Neill, and say, I'm going to suspend my campaign and support her. So they opened up the Central Committee meeting, all the Central Committees there, and a couple hundred other people, about 300 people. We have a special announcement. There's a change in the agenda. Michael, would you like to come up and say something? And I come up and I give about a 3-minute endorsement of what I'm suspending my campaign, standing down to support Jenny Ray LaRue. I want everybody to unite behind her. Hopefully the other 2 Republicans will do the same, so that all of our Republican Party can unite behind one candidate who I was convinced was the best path to win this seat. I get a standing ovation. I'm the hero of the night. And Jenny and I were supposed to talk the next day when her team meeting was over in the late afternoon. Long story, a lot shorter now. Now for the next 2 weeks plus, first thing is that next night, Tuesday night, we finally talk. And I'm talking to a different person. All of a sudden, it's like, well, the way I run my campaign is you won't talk directly to me any longer. You're going to deal with my chairperson, who happens to be in Las Vegas, and who happens, I learned, who's a really good guy, who happens to be running 4 other campaigns, by the way, from Las Vegas. And you'll deal through him. I go, well, wait a minute. What about the liaison? And we need a memo of understanding. If I'm going to not go back to my job, and I just suspended it, and I have a big fundraiser, my big fundraiser coming up that Sunday, 5 days away, 6 days away, where I have the former Comptroller General of the United States flying in from DC to be the keynote speaker, which was going to be the kickoff fundraiser to launch my campaign. I have become the MC of my own event to introduce Jenny Ray to my big donors and these people. And this is important. I want to share this last, and then
this is so creepy. This
but
is
it's
really
important
creepy.
to the whole point of what we need to do in changing the kind of candidates we get, changing the way we evaluate candidates, and allow the leadership of the local parties to become gatekeepers to who we get to vote on in the primary, and then who gets into the general election. So they control the primary nominating process, and then determines the outcome. And that's why we're in so much mess, or part of the major reasons. So at that meeting, my event, I'm the MC of. I introduced Jenny now after Dave Walker gives this great talk about fiscal responsibility. He and I go back, we work together, travel the country together, working on fiscal responsibility. Jenny proudly announces, and this I learned for the first time, yeah, I moved to California 18 years ago, and I was a no party preference voter.
Jenny Ray said that?
Yeah, oh yeah. And I got all this is all recorded, so nothing.
You're getting all this heat.
Yeah. Nothing I have said or will say in regards to her or anything else is anything other than the total truth. And I have recordings of and documentation to everything. So she's proudly going, yeah, I was a no party preference voter for 12 years until 2020, when during COVID, I was so upset as I was homeschooling my children in Redding, California, where she has her home, of the lockdowns and the way our state was. I went and looked up the name of our governor, that Gavin Newsom. I was so upset with the way he was handling our state. I decided I needed to run for governor. So she puts her name in and runs in the recall election and got 23rd place. But she ran that campaign. She immediately runs again the next year in the regular election for governor. So that was
for governor
experience for governor. And she'd only become a Republican in 2020 after being in our state for 12 years as a no party preference vote. And now she's running as governor of our state. Excuse me, I could talk about what that tells me about her and her elite background and training from Bain as a consultant coming out of their attitude. That's a whole nother topic we get into. Anyhow, that's Jenny Ray LaRue, folks. So over the course of the next couple of months, I realized she had lied to me, was very deceptive. I could not put my people behind me. I based my whole life on the word integrity. I'm not going to compromise that and ask my independent community, my Maha community, and those who know me in Orange County for 50 years to support somebody that I don't. She's a fraud and a liar. And so I said, I remembered my hometown hero. I was thinking of Louis Zamperini and his horrific ordeal. And the movie and the book was written called Unbroken. I was hosted to fly back to Washington, D.C. to speak on the mall, at the Washington Mall at a big Iranian rally. And on the way there on Saturday.
Iranian rally?
Yeah. And on the way
a big Iranian rally?
Iran, a free Iran rally, a free Iran rally.
Oh, free Iran. Okay, got it.
Help free Iran. So
supporting the people that were out protesting their own government. Gotcha. 42,000 of them got murdered by their own government.
Yeah, big topic I'd like to talk about in a minute.
Not too long ago, not that many months ago, is it?
So,
sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I'll finish this. I've gone way too off of this, but it's very deep and personal to me, obviously. But on the way there, I watched the movie Nuremberg, and the whole point of Nuremberg trials was how did somebody like Hitler able to take a very Catholic religious country like Germany and do what he did there, and all those people do what they did in killing millions upon millions of Jews and others.
Yep.
And the whole point of it was not enough people stood up, which was a point you made in your opening. And after I was honored to be one of the two non-Persian speakers on that rally, I'm on the airplane flying home Monday, and I'm thinking of all what I just shared about Jenny Ray, all of this issue about Trump and holding Congress. I'm thinking about Louis Zamperini not giving up. I'm thinking about what happened for Hitler. And I said, you know what? I've got to stand up, and no matter what they do, I'm not going to give up. I came back home. I sat my wife down, explained to her, and she has been a tremendous support. And she said, fine, you want to get back in? Let's do it. I said, we've been decimated. Our campaign team has all been hired. The key players have all been hired by other campaigns, because when I stopped my campaign, all of them went away. The funders went away. All of that went away. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to give up. I'm going to do everything I can. And whatever God has in store, why I was put in these circumstances, I don't know. He never confides in me in the future. I just know that I got to do every day the best I can, and will continue to do that. And so that's where I'm at. But I'm excited because despite it all, with the polls that have been shared with me, our campaign is within striking distance of still winning, being able to win, becoming in second to advance. And so we have a real grassroots, amazing team came back together of all volunteers, because we don't have the money, have all come back together. We're bannering, phone banking, canvassing every day. I was on a freeway overpass this morning for 4 hours, and every day we're out there. Today was our 41st freeway bannering. And so anyhow, we're going on, and I think we have a very, very good opportunity to win in this primary, advance to the general election, and then a combination of our Republicans combined with the Maha community, the soft Democrats, and all the independents, which our district has 30% independents, 30%. We can win, take out Dave Min. I can go to Washington, give the support Trump needs, and at the same token, hold Trump and everybody accountable to the Constitution, folks, because Trump's under tremendous pressure by a lot of incredible forces.
Yes.
And so we've got to hold everybody, including myself and all of us, always to the principles of our party and to the Constitution, and do everything I can to bring forth a new level of ethical leadership. And people ask me what would be the first thing I'd like to do in Congress, what committee I'd like to be on. I say the Rules Committee. The thing I'd focus on first and foremost is doing everything I can to change the rules, to raise the level of ethical leadership, because we have to earn the trust of the people back by delivering on results, not better messaging, not better looking candidates, younger candidates, richer candidates, any of that crap. People who actually can know how to bring people together, solve these problems, and deliver results for the people of our country. So
I don't think there's anything I could,
folks.
I don't think there's anything I could say to top that. There's so many questions I have for you, and I'm enjoying talking with you. But the important thing right now is just to motivate and introduce to the voters in your area there in Orange County or wherever to get involved, stay involved, listen to what Michael's doing. He didn't want to do this, but he saw a real problem. And I admire people who say, if not me, who? If not now, when? You're going for it. And then you've got your own Republican Party, at least in the Central Committee there. Now, I'm full disclosure, I'm an actual delegate with the California State GOP. So I'm there. I'm a voting member. I actually have to put up with so much crap from my own party that I have downright gone to war with them on several things. And this last convention down there in San Diego, they did not issue me a press pass or a media pass at all. I was there. So they don't like what I'm doing. They don't like what I'm saying, and I don't care. I'm not going to stop.
What are some of the things that you've gone to battle with them on?
The voting, the log cabin crap, the trying to remove pro-traditional family and pro-life from the actual party platform, from the charter for the state, trying to get that removed. It's been ridiculous. There's a lot of infiltration, and the current chair that we have now is seriously worse than the one that was before her. And I thought she was the worst thing I'd ever seen. And she was. Well, this one, Corinne Rankin, is even worse. I campaigned for Mike Morrell. He was running for party chair. But he would have done an extraordinary job. I was sure hoping that he won. He didn't. I seem to be outnumbered, and people like me. And they literally put out this email to everybody attending. You will be asked to leave if you wear an America First shirt.
In San Diego?
Yes. Hat, shirt, anything that says America First, you will be escorted out. You will have your yep.
I'm a delegate there, and I was there as well. I don't have time to read all the emails that come, but I didn't get that one. They wouldn't even put America First. One of the things I came away from, I said, I don't have the history of those 32 years. They
were trying to keep David Serpa out. They were trying to keep him from speaking because it's just insane. I don't know what's happened to my own party, but I don't like it. But I don't quit. I'm not going to stop. And as long as my friend Rudy Rosselli, who talk about running against a slug who's been ensconced there for decades, he's running against John Garamendi up in the San Francisco Bay Area. That dude's 81. Just got diagnosed with some kind of blood cancer thing, and he's still running again. Yeah. Why?
I've already signed term limits. By the way, for people who wonder, I've signed a term limit thing for 3 terms because I promised my wife I'd give 20 years to this reform effort. She says, well, if you stay there get reelected twice more, that'll put you at 21 years in this political reform. I said, sweetie, that's okay. We're going to for one more year, but it's important that we get through the midterms, get through the next president, and the midterms, the next midterms. Then I'm out. No matter what, I'm out.
I want you to do well, my friend. Where do we find you? How do we support you? How do we help?
Well, they can go quite simply to Maxsenti, MAXSENTI 4, not the numeral, but 4congress.com. Support would be tremendous. Any support financially, anybody who wants to give there will help us just spend. We will be spending any dollars we get on boosting our social media ads that we're running. So anything people can do, and we have time. We have phone bankers, and we've dissected and have been calling in to 70,000 people who are high propensity independents, which are 11,000 in our district of those, and the low propensity Republicans we're focused on. So we've got phone banking opportunities. We've got, if people can donate financially, and you can phone bank from anywhere in the world to help us.
I was just going to say, you don't have to be there in Orange County or Southern California even to work on a phone bank for Michael.
And it's real easy to do.
You can do that from anywhere.
So those are things that can help. So I'd like to touch back on something you said about the Republican Party, about not even allowing America first. That stuns me. Two, one of the things that I came away with, that never once in the 2.5 days of that convention did they ever mention Make America Healthy Again, the MAHA.
No.
And
no.
The only way
they didn't even have a caucus.
No.
But they had a homo caucus, but they didn't have a Make America Healthy Again caucus. Yeah, and that's what they do. They get together like the day before. It starts Friday night, usually just a couple of things, and then a party after registration. And then Saturday, it's like you're meeting with all these different independent groups. The veterans had a caucus there. The unions had a caucus there. Yeah. And you go into those, and then the candidates come in and address those different people groups.
Not one mention of MAHA. The only way Trump won, and the only way in California, folks, that we have a chance of winning in 99% of the circumstances is recognizing that we must be part of a coalition with the soft Democrats led by the MAHA, Make America Healthy group, and the independents. If we don't embrace the independents and the MAHA, we don't win. And not one mention of their needs, their concerns, their involvement.
No. I noticed that too.
We don't win a damn thing without that acknowledgement, and not just acknowledgement, but embracing their needs and desires. And it starts with delivering on policy, not just better messaging and that stuff.
Oh, somebody should recommend to Sean Steele then that perhaps his chocolate and cigar night, it could be brought to you by the MAHA folks.
Yeah. And so
this cigar brought to you by Make America Healthy Again.
Yeah. You don't inhale.
That's about as close as they got to anything addressing health. But I love it. You're a kick. Thank you very much. Maxsenti, Maxsenti for Congress.com, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, my friend. Yeah. We will do this again when we can actually talk. Go ahead.
We have a lot more to talk about. So anytime.
Exactly. We'll do this again. But right now, I want to get you past this primary on Tuesday. I want to get you in. I want to get you going to the final election in November. I want that.
Well, thank you, Charlie. I appreciate the help. Appreciate it.
All right, buddy. Talk to you later, man. That's impressive. People who are actually putting he's a retirement age. I mean, those cruise ships aren't going to sail themselves. So he could be taking a nice little cruise to Alaska about now. But nope. He's running for Congress. Not because he has to. Because that's his job or his career, not because he wants to, for the power and for the notoriety of it all. That's a real genuine conservative there who's doing it for the heart and because he loves our state. He and I are both California natives, and we know we got to do something now. I don't see anyone else stepping up except for Ramin. Good job, buddy, on that report. Ramin Real Talk. You'll find him on YouTube and on Rumble. May God bless you and keep you. Oh, by the way, get yourself one of these coffee mugs. Michael, if you're still watching, go to my website right here, charliesimons.com. CharlleSimons. And when you're doing shows in the future, let's talk about politics and religion. Big old 15-ounce mug. You'll find that and shirts and hats and all kinds of stuff at my website, charliesimons.com. May God bless you and keep you. May God bless America. But most importantly, America, bless God